Hey everyone, Pyramid Intel. So this Pyramid Intel is going to be about disclosure. So I'm in my office. I haven't made anything in my office for a while. And I'm wearing this t-shirt where it has Chris Cornell and he's smashing his guitar and probably some other things with his guitar on stage. And it's very appropriate because when I think about this topic, that's exactly how I feel. Like I want to smash shit. So I'm watching Gaia and they were saying, some officials, how can we have disclosure? How can we have disclosure? There's so many things to disclose. There's so many layers. There's this and that and that and that. What about this? We can't tell people that. And what about this? We certainly can't tell people that. So how do we do it? And I just sat there, right? And my head started to hurt because it was just, and I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not even saying anything about this man. He really and truly was pulling his hair out because he has bought into the program of how everything is really complicated and it's multi-layered and you can't just, be honest. Because you can't, because nobody's honest. The whole world would blow apart if anybody were honest. People couldn't handle it. So, and that's my point exactly. That's what makes me crazy. How do you do it? This is how you do it. You ready? Everyone sit your ass down. Anyone who's in a high position who has been just losing their minds over how you do this, I'm going to tell you. You start by telling the truth. I know it's a really novel idea, but that's how you do it. You get into this mess by not telling the truth, and you get out of the mess by not telling the truth. Any child who has not been overly programmed and overly complicated and brainwashed yet knows this. And I'm not pointing any fingers because it's part of the human experience to be a liar, for various reasons. And that's how you learn. And I'm not even upset at the fact that we have this really distorted, out of control disclosure process that's necessary, because I sort of understand the train of thought at the time, how it could have been perceived as the best thing for everyone in that moment. But there was a tipping point that was quite clear, and it became more than quite clear shortly after that, and it was allowed to continue. And at that point, this is when you're an asshole, and you shame on you, and you know it. I'm not telling people anything they don't know. How many people had to die to make this thing continue, and it was allowed to continue? I just made a video about getting public support and how important it is, and people watched all this happen, and they still did nothing. Because they were more concerned about their own well-being than the well-being of humanity and the planet and all of the evil implications that sort of snowballed. But whatever, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Okay, we're past all that now. Point is now, what do? Start by telling the truth. Now, I understand when you're talking about military maneuvers, and there are people who have studied this extensively, psychological operations and yada, 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 there's a lot to it. Yeah, absolutely. But what do you have to lose at this point? I'm not saying you unroll it all at once. I'm saying you throw a crumb and then you throw another crumb until there are no crumbs left. People can digest one crumb at a time. They can't if you vomit all out in their face at once. Yeah, there's going to be a psychotic break. But the psychotic break is coming anyway because the information's trickling out. Because we've already passed the tipping point between technology and communication and the acceleration of light code activations and whatnot. It's already happening, and people are already getting psychotic, in case you haven't noticed. And all the attempts that have been made to slow down the process, to relieve pressure in the human psyche, as well as within the Earth's crust, the pressure that's building there, because as within, without, above, below, it's all the same. It's not really working, is it? You change the frequency from within. A very wise person was saying to me, you make all the changes from within, not from without. There's no difference, is there? As above, so below, as within, as without. It's what's the difference? But I can tell you that making changes without changing within, when everything comes from within, if you're creating your own reality and you're a scalar wave generator, and everything starts from the inside, that certainly is the right place to start, from within you. And if everyone brings it down to the simplest component, and the most brilliant things in life are always simple as shit. Any great scientist out there would probably agree with me. It can be a big, long, drawn out, complicated process of formula that you eventually unravel, but it either unravels all the way down to a really simple component, or it begins with a simple component. It's usually something right in front of your face. How do we get to this point? How did all this happen? At some point, somebody made a decision to tell lies, or a collection of lies, and every fiber of their being was screaming they knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but they went along with it anyway. That's your answer. So how do you undo it? Exactly the way that you did it. Every fiber of your being is screaming at you right now that it's not working, and you have to go back the other way. Start throwing crumbs. Stop holding back. Stop thinking about consequences. If you think back to your childhood, or watching other children go through these processes of having to undo lies, you know, it's never fun to stand there in front of your parents, or a teacher, or a friend, or anyone else, a spouse, anyone else has been caught in a lie, and admit to what you have done. But it's the only way it can be done. I have more things flying around today than I've ever seen in my entire life. It is the strangest thing in the world. Either I need to go to the eye doctor, or there are a whole bunch of creatures all around me. Maybe both. Anyway. Whew, lost my train of thought. It's never fun to have to sit there and tell the truth. But once you get started, just let it go. Stop blocking it. Stop trying to halt the process. Just let it come out. And you will have relief. You will have relief, because the energy will be flowing through. Truth is a God frequency. There's no interruption. You're not pinching anything off. That's your natural state. That's your natural state of being. Whenever you're holding back, you're lying or manipulating or holding anything in, that is a lockdown of energy, a restriction, a cramping, a sickness, a disease, a death, a darkness. It's not natural. It's a big relief. Yes, you know, when you vomit out the truth on somebody, it's painful, but it's a release at the same time, and then you can move on. It's going to come out sooner or later anyway. So help yourself along the process by letting it out. The reason anyone doesn't want to do it is because they're worried about how they can manipulate them instead of taking, part in it. There's an acceptance to it. You have to accept it. If you participated in anything and you want to come out unscathed and figure out how you can make it look good for yourself, no, it's coming out. Just throw the crumbs out there. Now, what you can do to help your public opinion of yourself and or your karma is to actually say, okay, this is what I've done. Here's the truth. Here are my crumbs, my participation, my acceptance in it. What can I do now to rectify the situation? That's what you do. That way, you're not hurting yourself. You're opening up the flow of energy, and you're rebalancing, and everything works out great. You got to give up the control, the manipulation, the lies, and the bullshit if you want relief for yourself, for the planet, for your government, for your country, for the military, for everybody, for every relationship, for the planet, everything. That's the answer. I have all the answers, but they always forget to call. So anyway, in some small way, I hope that we're all learning something from this. I certainly have over the last years, the resonance of truth and what darkness is and what light is, and the extents to it, what people will go to personally and professionally, and it's all a lesson. So I hope everyone else is observing this and learning and making better choices for themselves. No matter how far down the rabbit hole you've gone, no matter how far you've walked into the darkness, no matter how many bad decisions that you've made or what sort of karma you are reaping, you can always redirect yourself, okay? So I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.